Alright, so what's happening on the news front this week? Well, this week is quite a busy week. There's a couple of issues that are dominating the headlines, namely the Greece situation. Now there's a couple of dates that are key to understanding what's developing, what's going to unfold, and what type of scenarios we could get from this. All in the meantime, basically anybody trading the Euro USD is all over the shop because 1 minute we hear one thing, then we hear another thing, but these are the facts. The 28th of February, the current bailout program that Greece was handed, I think, what was that, about a year ago, or I can't remember exactly, expires. A new agreement must be made by then so that they can continue on. Now, apparently, about 70% of all the terms have been predominantly agreed upon, verbally anyway. Nothing's been signed off on yet, but 70% of the bailout program, or a continuance of a bailout program, has been agreed on. 30% is in debate. Okay, so what does this basically mean? In an absolute worst case scenario, and I would be extremely surprised if this happened, but it's always a possibility. One scenario is that there is no agreement and basically Greece gets ejected out of the Eurozone. What does that actually mean? What that basically means is we could see the Euro plummet through 110 and possibly towards parity. Why, we ask, is Greece so important to the Euro? It's not that. It's the fact that if one country was to be ejected, it basically can open up the doors that others may be, which ultimately leads to the dissolvent of the euro, which basically means it could cease to exist. Now, it's an extreme case, but this is how it works. It all starts from somewhere. Okay. Now, most people believe that there will be some kind of resolution. How good of a resolution, or how bad, or what the terms and conditions is still what's missing, and we need to be aware of these when we trade. Basically, when we're trading the euro. So if, for example, as we approach that 28th of Feb, and it's only like 12 days away, it turns out that Greece is ejected. All right, well, you know exactly what to do. Don't overload on it, but basically you just got to position yourself correctly and just ride out the wave. Okay, so that's the major headline. Last week the US lost a lot of ground against most currencies, predominantly on the back of weaker than expected data. All right, and three of the commodities made a bit of a comeback, and with it, it basically dragged up the commodity currencies, namely the US CAD, Aussie dollar, and the Kiwi dollar. Okay, so they got propped up by the commodities. This week, as you're looking at my screen, the number one currency on the spotlight this week has got to be the GBP. Okay, incidentally, the governor, I can't remember his name off the top of my head right now, for the Bank of England, pretty much last week said the next move that the Bank of England makes on interest rates, it's only one move and it's going to be up. Okay, so they've made their stance. So have we hit the bottom with the GBP USD? Are we about to start a new trend in the opposite direction? I don't know. I received a couple of emails today about a possible T-chaser on it. When I get there, I will highlight it and talk about it. But basically the GBP has got a lot of data coming out this week. Have a look at that. Plus, couple it up with the other side of the pair, which is the US, making this week the currency to be aware of, the GBP USD. Okay, for the Aussie, we have a quieter week. I guess given the weeks that we've had recently, it may not be a bad thing. Okay, so that's the currency for the week. As always, for the newer people in the room, these times that you are looking at, they are in my local time. That's Sydney time, or Australian Eastern Standard Daylight Time. All right, let's get stuck into it. Let's see what we've got, and let's see what's happened this week. Alright, so let us start off with the Aussie dollar. Aussie dollar. Okay. We had that late end to the week where we had this pull-up area, which is around about 100 and something odd pips. I think we were tracking this, the top line. We didn't have the bottom line locked in. I've got a locked in line now. So now for me, I've got a valid, I'm on a 4-hour chart by the way, I've got a valid triangle and I'm at a critical time right now. Okay, so let's talk about this. Let's see what we can do, how it may play out. I'm so still anti Aussie dollar. I still want it short, but I can't ignore a signal. Okay, so predominantly I am a fundamental trader, a technical trader, where I'm influenced a little bit by the fundamentals if it's on a big scale. Okay, all the Aussie data has come out, so now I just got to trade what I see. Alright, let me just have one quick look on my daily chart. I've got a note here to have a quick look. Okay, we can see we're definitely in that downtrend. Have we bottomed out, or at least pausing for a while? I don't know, but this pattern is a very, very strong pattern. That's it. That's what I wanted to see. Okay, these are the things I can see. These are the facts. I can see divergence happening right now on a daily chart. If you look at my indicator down the bottom, we're heading in the upward direction, and if we compare this to these bottoms here, we are heading in a downward direction. So I've got clear divergence, which signifies a movement upwards. As always, divergence on its own is not enough for me to trade. We did see a little bit of this diversion last week, but we weren't sure. However, if I look at my 4-hour chart, we see this pattern here, and we are on the verge, let me zoom in, we are on the verge of coming out. Okay, so in fact, right now live, we have just taken that little top. Now I've got 1 hour and 20 minutes for this candle to close. Alright, so the way I would like to do this is as follows. I'm going to wait that 1 hour and 20 minutes and I'm going to see where this candle closes. Okay, if this candle closes a good 15 pips up and it's looks something like that, it clearly takes out this high, I'm very happy to just jump in straight away and take that trade. Okay, that's 1 hour and 20 minutes away and counting down. And this is based off a 4-hour chart. The alternative, if you don't like to enter like I've just shown, then what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to wait probably at least 2 or 3 more candles, which will be probably, what's that, in another 8 hours, midnight, very close to midnight, or perhaps you might be lucky tomorrow morning. And what you're going to be looking for is you're going to be looking for the market to come down, give you some kind of a pattern here, and then you're going to bounce off it in this direction. Okay, is everybody clear on the options here? Bijan is asking me what about my stop. I haven't talked about that, so let's talk about that in one moment. But just first of all, does everybody understand the execution of what I'm basically talking about? So, yep, Alan, Brett, Lois, Karen, Roy. Okay, fantastic. So we're all on the same page. Alright, so we've got to wait out this candle. Alright, now let's talk about this stop. Now, if you have the mentality like a proper triangle mentality, like you've got to trade a proper triangle, let me zoom out. If I'm going to trade it properly, I am going to aim for this much profit, which will put me, say, from there somewhere. 1, 2, 3 sets, 1, 2, 3 puts me at about there somewhere. So basically, I will be trading back into the 80s. I'm going to be trying to hit 81. I'm a little bit uncomfortable about that. Let me just, did I measure that right? Give me 1 second. Yep, pretty much. Okay. All right. So if that is the case, and that's what we're aiming for. Of course, don't forget, guys, when we take a trade that we're aiming for so much, make sure you take something at halfway, okay? Or do something at halfway, or as Brett is saying, maybe just try to get out at 80 and you're not interested in the full ride, that's okay. But from a technical point of view, the correct target will be around about 81, okay? Which is in this area up here somewhere, okay? Now, so the stop, in theory, the correct place to put the stop would be over here. Now, I know that's a long way away. However, if you do a reward to risk, that's the risk, this is the reward over here, that looks to me it's about 2 to 1, or very, very close. So then it would be okay. Now remember, you can still make this distance equal, say, I don't know, 50, let's call it $60 as an example. Alright, so you would be risking 60 to make 120. Okay, so I'll leave you to make that decision. The correct spot is here. If you feel that is too much, you could choose this spot over here as well. Okay, does everybody understand the two stops? This is technically the correct stop where I'm writing stop right now. This one is another option. I'll put an O for another option, or I'll just write it in. Everybody understands the two options? Okay. All right. If this is the turning point, okay, if this is the turning point and this trade comes off, 81 is an easy target. Don't think as 81 as Mount Everest. Let me take you back to the daily chart. Look what we've just done. There's divergence here. Getting us to 81 is only here, that line there. So we're talking about just a little compared to this massive. So it's not like an unsurmountable mountain. All right, it's not massive. It is a long way, but it's not huge. Okay, so there you go. We need to wait an hour 20 first of all to see what happens at the end of this candle. What about if this candle comes back inside and closes, say, down here, and you're left with a little wick? Let's say it looks like, I'll try and draw it. Let's say it ends up being a candle like this, and you got a little wick there. What do we think about that? Anyone? We may have to, well, okay, yes, there's no long trade, alright. If that happens, we may have to play around with our lines a little bit, alright. Okay, Brett's saying sell and aim for the other side. I wouldn't sell straight away off that one, Brett. What I would wait for is still wait for a fractal and an inside candle or an engulfing candle. So I would wait for the next candle if it was like this, and then I would sell. Okay, so that's the way that I would play that one out. So it's important not to jump the gun right now. All we've done is just touched the high. We haven't really broken it. We just got to wait and see. All right, so that's the plan for the Aussie dollar. Towards the end of the class, we may have a clearer indication. Let's move on. Euro USD. Euro USD is very, very similar. Let me just have a quick check of something. Looking at this chart, just ignore my lines for a moment. Just ignore these two lines that I've drawn in my charts for one moment. Let me take it out so I don't influence you. Just purely looking at this chart that you can see right now, could we still be looking for this? Question mark. Could we still, because I've tried to look for this trade and technically I was still in one which is going, just keeps coming back against me. It doesn't really want to break into this. This is held firm, this area over here. So some of you are saying yes, yes. I kind of feel that as well. And you know what? If we get the Greece situation in our favour, it could really punch us in. But also, I'm now starting to notice, perhaps it could be the start of some consolidation. All right. And if we start to get some consolidation, could we now maybe start to aim for that way? The first times that I start to look for a trend change, the way that I look for it is on a 4-hour chart, just to see if it starts to show itself up. Alan, I don't understand your question. Give me 1 second. Okay, so I'm going to switch to a 4-hour chart for a moment, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put in my T-Chaser template. It's the best template that I have to show me trend change. Oh, we got a counter trend sell last week. I didn't have that trade on my system. I don't know what happened. Did that trade close out? Did we get stopped out? Did we hit target? Or are we still in that trade, Alan? I'll just bring up the template. 1 second, guys. I just want to just check this. We're still in. Okay. Counter trend long. Was it this trade here? In that direction? Oh, short. Short. I can't see the trade. Was it this one there? Like this? Short daily. Okay, short. Okay, I thought so. Yeah. So sorry, guys. I'm just a bit confused. Yeah, it's still this trade here, wasn't it? That we had the inside candles and we just touched there. This trade's been going for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, nearly 8 days. Is that the one we're talking about? Right there? Yep, okay. That's the one that I was talking about as well. So, which is the continuation kind of trade. And it's just really, it got ahead a little bit and then it's just doing this. So, I'm kind of, I don't know. I mean, our stop's up here. We just got to play it out. But what I'm trying to say is, does it feel like we're just starting to change trends? So what I do is I bring up my T-Chaser template on it. On a daily chart, no, we can clearly see that we're still very much in the trend. If I look at a 4-hour chart, it's just starting to feel like, could it be turning around? I don't know. All right, so these are the first indications. All right, and if the Greece situation resolves itself, we could start to push back up towards, I don't know, 117 or in that area. So let me go back to my original chart that I had for us. And I think I had a big triangle that I was spotting. There it is. I'm on a 4-hour chart now. Let me zoom in. Okay. Is everybody happy with that triangle? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 touches. Down the bottom I've got 1 and 2. So I'm pretty happy with this as a valid triangle. So what I'm interested now is, this is one of those. Now, yes, I do realize that we are short Euro USD. Okay, Can someone give me a number? How many pips in the red are we on that trade? Is it about 80 or 100? How much is it? With this triangle, while I get an answer, with this triangle, we clearly took out that high, and this candle here is a signal to go long based off a 4-hour chart and based off a break-in triangle. Okay, so this is a signal to go long. It's a different reason. Thank you, Lois. We're about 80 pips in the red. It's a different reason to the other trade. Okay, the other one was a trend based off a daily continuation. This, if you wanted to take it, or if you don't have a trade on the Euro USD at the moment, there is a signal to go long. There was a signal right there. So let's say if you didn't take it and you waited for the more conservative method, we got a setup right there, bouncing off the line. We got the fractal. We got an inside bar, and then we got a third inside bar over there, and then finally this candle breaks it right there, and that's a signal to go up. So if you are in this trade short, sometimes based off different time frames, what you can do is trade in both directions. Okay, effectively what it does is it hedges your other trade out. Alright, so if anybody wants to, there is a signal there. If you're not in a trade at all on the Euro USD, there is a signal based off a 4-hour chart, which is break-in triangle trade. You can see it here. So, and according to this, we can probably aim for about 118.30. Does that stop us out on the other trade, guys? 118.30 stop us out? I don't have it on this. I've got a different trade on this one. Yes, it does. Okay. Alright, so there you go. So Euro USD, we have a long available right now. If the trend is changing, this triangle will come good and should go up. It would mean that our other trade gets stopped out. Okay. Alternatively, this one would get stopped out, and well, they could technically both get stopped out. This is the downside of trading. If you've already got the other one in the market, just ignore this one. Don't panic about it. If you've got no trades on the Euro USD right now, there is a trade to go long right now. Karen saying, I took that break trade this morning. Okay, Karen, well done. Well, you've taken it correctly. Okay, so it's a legitimate trade. All right. Any questions on this one? Does everybody understand? For this one, you're going to have to put your stop. It's too close to put it right there, so you're going to have to go here. Okay. We all clear on the Euro USD? Our plan. This will bring up, it should bring up an important point for you. What do you do when you look at many or different styles or different strategies when you're in a trade based on one strategy, and then another strategy that you like to trade tells you to go the other way? What do you do? So you need to address that issue in your trading plan. Okay, if you haven't done so, this is a perfect time, because I think this is one of the first times that this has come up for us on a Monday, where we're in a trade in one direction and I get another signal in the other direction, and this signal that I just got now is a long-term signal. These are 4-hour candles. This pattern has taken at least 3 weeks to build up, I think. Let me just check. Yeah, from the 22nd of January. Okay, from when we could first started to build this pattern. All right. Let's move on. Let's have a look at the GBP USD. Okay, GBP USD, what have I got? Oh, we could get a really good trade here. I'll show you what I got. I've got a rising wedge. Let me just zoom out a little bit. Okay, this is a rising wedge pattern. Alright, the way that you would basically trade this particular pattern, there's three types of trades you can get off it. One is a trade into the channel, two is a trade into the channel the other direction, and three is a trade from the channel downwards only, not upwards. Okay, because it's a rising wedge, we don't trade from here upwards like that. Okay, so the three types of trades that we will normally take off this one, and the good thing about this pattern is, first of all, it's a definitely good pattern. There's lots of touches. Okay, we got something there, but the best part is we are right now at a critical point. Okay, so the trade, there's only one trade that we're looking for here. We're looking for a short, and we could get it. What I would be looking for, let me zoom in a little bit. What I would like to see is, if this candle goes up a little bit, even if it puts its wick through the top line there, let's say this turns out to be a candle that looks something like this. London comes along, it's a blue candle like this, and maybe it has got a little wick. Okay, let's say that's the candle that I get. What I would be looking for immediately is a second candle that does this or something like that. It can have a wick as well, but not lower than this one. If that happens, I will also get a fractal right up there, and then bingo, draw a line across the bottom there and trade that down into the channel. That's what I want to happen. I need an hour 20 for this one to finish, plus 4 hours, so this will be ready in about 5 hours, 5 hours time, if this pans out. Okay, and if it doesn't, well then it doesn't, and nothing happens. We all clear on that one, guys? If you really want to trade a channel, I'll show you another way. I might have to do a whole class on this, but I'll show you really quickly now. Because what could happen is, you could get the fractal here, but you may not get the inside candle to follow it. Alright, so what you can do is this, bring up a stochastic indicator, and what you want to do, if you don't have the candle pattern, okay, and you really want to take the trade, then check your stochastics, and let's see if your stochastics are crossing over each other above the 70. Okay, so let me show you what I mean. Let's see if I can find one. There's got to be one back here. I'm trying to find one that doesn't meet the inside. Okay, here's one here. Look at this candle. Oops, sorry. Look at this candle here. It's got the fractal, okay, but the candle afterwards is not an inside candle, so technically it's not a signal. But if you drop a vertical, it's a little bit high. Let's pretend that this happened a bit lower. I'm struggling to find an example for you, but see, they're crossing over each other. All right, as long as they're crossing by this candle here, then that's another way you can do it. It's a much more aggressive entry, but if you're confident with your channel and you don't want to miss out, you really just want to take the trade, at least get a double confirmation with a stochastics indicator. Alright, if not, just ignore the stochastics and just take it straight off as what we normally do, look for an inside candle. Alright, so that's the one that I'm particularly looking for. Karen's saying took a long break out of the last 8 H4 candles. Here, you took that trade there, Karen, is that what you're saying? I'm just a bit confused as to which candle you're... Oh, this candle here, you took a long from that? Okay, alright. Now, so you've taken a long right there. Okay, alright. That's an interesting one. I don't have any reason to go long here other than maybe some continuation or anything, but I can't find a solid enough reason. Not to say it's not going to happen. So if it does go long, all it means is that we're not going to get a trade over here because this will go up and then what we're looking for is not going to be there and then we just look for another opportunity. I think what Karen is saying, she took a breakout there. So if I go into say a 4-hour chart, a 1-hour chart or something, I should be able to see it a bit better. That's what, so you took a breakout trade. Okay, I can see that now, Karen. That's what you're saying? There was consolidation and then breaking out. Yep. Okay, cool. Not a problem. That's okay. That's valid. All right. But normally what I try to do on the Mondays is I'm trying to find those trades for the entire week, so I look at a little bit longer time frame. So I did not look at a smaller time frame. All right. So we all clear on the game plan for the GBP USD. We need to wait 5 hours. We need this candle to finish and we need the next one after it and then we'll know what we're doing. Okay, let's move on. Let's have a look at gold. Okay, remember last week guys I said that I really had nothing on gold? After that breakout of the triangle trade that we took, we were coming down and I said let's see what happens at the 61.8. Well, the 61.8 seems to have held. It didn't quite happen on the line though. I was maybe thinking it was going to happen there, but it's happened a little bit in front, so there's a bit of air here which makes me a little bit uncomfortable. However, if anybody did trade the bounce off the 61.8, you did get the candle formation. So if I zoom in, you've got an inside candle happening there and we've broken out, so you're pretty much at the level that you got in at the moment if you took that trade. Okay, and the trade is in that direction. I don't particularly trade gold that often, so I'll stay away from this one. It didn't come down and hit the line as I would have liked it. Let me have a quick look at a 4-hour chart, see if there's anything different. There's kind of like a channel on a 4-hour. It's not. It makes normally when you've got an established channel and you get a rejection or a bounce off it, you'd be surprised at how often it actually gets to the other side of the channel. Okay, so as in gets there somewhere. I'm not willing to trade this one. It's not the sweetest or the best looking channel. There's something there, but no, I'm going to give it a miss. I'm not doing anything with this one. Okay, So it kind of looks alright, but not really. Is anybody in this trade? Is anybody got a trade on gold at the moment? No? No one's got one? Okay. Well, Lois has a 1 hour ABC trend following pattern. Okay. Fantastic. Let's see if I can see it. You short, Lois? Okay. Alright. Not a problem. I can't really see it. I'll have to check it out and give a bit more detail. Alright, so that's gold for us for this week. I'm sitting this one out where we've touched that 61.8, but there's nothing really exciting on it. Let's move on to the US yen. Okay, the US yen, who took that break? Because we were tracking this, and this was one that I forgot to send out as a Twitter signal. That candle that I'm just highlighted there was a confirmation to go long. The trade started off like house on fire, got up to about 100 pips or thereabouts, and it's come back and it's negative now if you're still in it. Okay, if you did take it, maybe at plus 100 you might have taken some out or moved your stop or done something, and then you've protected some profit, and that would be quite handy. But what it came back and kind of looked like it was going to bounce off this line, but it's just gone through. And what I've just noticed, if I go into a 4-hour chart, can anybody see what I'm talking about right there? Can anybody notice it? Let's see if you can notice on a 1 hour chart. Yeah, it's more noticeable on a 4-hour chart. Okay, here's the clue. Head and shoulders, that's it. Well done, Karen. Okay, there's a head and shoulder pattern on a 4-hour chart. So essentially the way we would trade this one would be at the break of the neckline, which is there, which is that line right there. We're right about there right now. Now, whenever you trade a break of a line, you trade it the way that we've been trading it all along. So either wait for the big red candle to go through it, or just well, actually with this one here, you could probably just trade a straight break, maybe like 5 pips below, and just jump in on it straight away. Okay, so with this particular trade, the problem is it's trading against what we said. It's trading against this triangle. I'm just trying to see where the target would be to see if it would still possibly leave us in the other trade. Bear with me 1 second. It'll be very, very tight. It'll, in an ideal world, your head and shoulder pattern will hit target, and then it will turn around and go back up. Now, fundamentally, from a fundamental point of view, the US yen at the moment is seen by most analysts, economists, as the currency to buy every dip. That's what they're saying. Okay, so every time it goes down, they've got a long-term view that by the end of the year, the US yen could be at where are we now? We're 118, so we could be at as high as 130. Okay, so when the fundamentals are of such nature, we try to look for those buying opportunities. So even though this trade, if you are long and you didn't collect something at the 100, it's still got a nice feeling about that trade. Now it could still go and get stopped out, but it's still got a nice feeling about this trade. Alright, so this could be one that you could temporarily go short, just to effectively you're hedging yourself, let it hit some kind of a target and then close out the short and continue with a long trade. Okay, so but it is, I don't think we've traded a head and shoulders. I'll watch it. How long have I got for this candle to finish? This is a 4-hour chart, so I think I've got about an hour on this one as well. Give me one moment. "47 minutes." Okay, so if this one really comes, not sure if this is going to be the trigger. It may have to be the next candle after this one. All right. Okay, let's move on. So that's the US yen. We've got a head and shoulders. We're still in a long, and we just got to wait out for this candle. Euro yen. Okay, who took this trade? Did anybody take it? We spotted this channel last week. Okay, so we said, I think we saw it over here somewhere. So the first possible trade that we could have taken would have been the one that I've just circled. Did anybody take it? No, we had a... sorry, well, you got an inside candle here, that one there. So straight away, this bottom here, remember with the channel, what you're doing, so you would have got in there. So the trade got up as much as 109. The stop was about 95. So whenever the trade gets to 1-to-1, I guess what we really want to be doing is we don't want to lose on a trade that gets to 1-to-1. Okay, so as soon as a trade gets 1-to-1, you've got to do something. Move your stop to break even, or get half the trade out, or do something. Okay, so that you don't end up with a losing. You can still leave the stop in the original place and maybe take half of your profit, and while you wait for the rest of the journey. Okay, so that one's gone. The channel's still pretty good. I really do like this channel, so now we're going to try and get it again. Okay, so if the euro is starting to recover, then the trade that is more likely will be something like this. Alright, so keep an eye on it. Don't forget, so this one could be, every candle's 4 hours, so just keep this chart randomly around your screens and just look at it a couple of times throughout the day. You will, when it's getting close, you bring it forward, make sure we don't miss out. That was a really, really nice trade. I missed it as well. I don't know what I was doing, because I love the yen and I like these channels as well, so I don't know what happened there. Okay, but this is the next trade. Okay, let me have a quick look on a daily. Let's see if anything looks drastically different. Oh, this is a bit of a conundrum. Have a look at this. Who saw what I just saw? Do we think that we're still doing this? I tried it over here once and I got stopped out. Oh no, I missed that one. I think I missed that one, but I tried, sorry, that one didn't trigger. I tried it here and I got stopped out. Who would try it again there? Can I get a show of hands? I just want to see where we are. Who would try it there to go there? Let me change my profile for one moment. Let's see if things look a little bit better. Okay, there's my T chaser profile. Okay, are we still in trend? Are we at the borderline? What are we thinking? These are starting to get a bit messed up. I'm on a daily chart, by the way. They're starting to get a bit messed up. I didn't see this trade until literally 10 seconds ago, so they're starting to get messed up, but I've got a really good setup. If this trend was going to continue down, it doesn't get better than that. Okay, we got the fractal, we got an inside candle, and we're just breaking, or have we broken? I'm not sure, I've got to check it, but continuation down. The moving averages, these two are just getting a little bit messed up there, but it's not by a lot. Alright, one more thing we can check. Let's see if this level is the 38 fib level. Let's have a quick look. Well, probably the 23. It's very close to it, isn't it? It's not quite the 38, but it's kind of close. I just double check that because sometimes the market likes to retrace to the 38, and if this market does retrace to the 38, it would basically go there and then stop me out. That's why I'm just checking, that's all. Alright, so this is one of those. What do we think, guys? I didn't see that trade before, but there is a short there for anybody who likes it. Let's see if we have been triggered. The low is 35.15. This candle's low is 35.11. It has triggered, so if you get in now, you're actually getting in about 10 points better off. Let me go back to my other profile and see what I was looking at before. We were looking at a channel, weren't we? Was it a channel? So how does that change things? Okay, there's the channel that we were observing, and what we're looking for is a trading opportunity to bounce it. Alright, so this is one of those cases. If you take the short, you get an opportunity to hedge yourself straight pretty close if this shows signs of bouncing. What could happen is it could go down and then show signs of breaking the channel down, which is a double confirmation for your other one. Okay, let's see what some of the comments. Brett saying if it was not for the BOJ and the interference, it would be good. They want a weak JPY. Absolutely correct. Okay, so the issue is which one's getting weaker quicker. Is the euro getting weaker quicker, or is the JPY getting weaker quicker? So at some point, that's why it's so nice trading technically, because then you can just let go and just trade what you see on a chart. Okay, so there you go, guys. I really like this trade. If I get an opportunity to go long, I like it. I like the short as well. Right, the short is ready right now. Okay, and that's on a daily chart. What I might do is, as soon as I finish the class, I'll just do the numbers. I'm going to try and trade both. So I'm going to go short now, pretty much, and then when I get to the edge here, either I will close out my existing short because the signal is so good to go back up, or I'll keep it and go in the other direction as well. Okay, does that make sense? So you should have a game plan when you want to trade out a particular vibe. Okay, so those are the two things that could happen. Let me move on and let's have a look at the Kiwi dollar. Kiwi dollar stopped me out last week on a trade that I took. I took the trade. Remember, we said this is the candle that had the double fractal, the fractal at the top and the fractal at the bottom. Well, it bit me. So I don't like the double fractal candle now. Nevertheless, based on what I saw, it was I had a good enough reason to take that trade. It looks like now we've come out. Okay, we're coming out, so it's kind of too late. If you haven't traded this now, it's kind of too late. Let me have a quick look at a daily. Is anybody long Kiwi dollar by any chance? We've just cleared the big round number, 75.08. Let's check our fibs. No, there's no combination, nothing. I can't find a spot to come back down on the Kiwi dollar. So basically all I got is this, but it's too late for a lot of us, so that's already gone through. We just got to wait and see what forms next, and let's see if we can get a pattern out of it for next week. Okay, so Kiwi dollar, nothing. Last but not least, the Euro Aussie. I've been tracking this. I just noticed that about mid-week last week. I liked the bottom line. Alright, and I guess really what I'm looking for is I want it all to cross back underneath on this side. That's what I'm really looking for. So we're getting towards the narrow end of this triangle. So pretty much something's got to give very shortly. Alright, this is a 4-hour chart, so within the next day or two we will get something out of this particular situation. Okay, so the pattern is very clear. What I prefer is, because I don't know why, I just prefer it this way down. Okay, so, and if the Aussie dollar is recovering, yeah, this is the direction. The best looking trade is where I've just drawn the arrow in that direction. We just got to wait to see what happens on the fringes. Okay, but that's the trade that we're looking for. I'm going to write this one up on my whiteboard so that I can keep an eye on it and check it. So hopefully I'll try and spot it live so that I can send it out to everybody. Alright, let me have a quick look on a daily. There was a trade that I saw last week. I didn't call it out and I didn't trade it because I wasn't sure, but I'll show it to you guys now just so that you can. And I've got to change my profile. I'll go to my. So I've put on a T-Chaser profile here, okay, and I'm on a daily chart. You can notice from about here, right from there, from where I've just drawn the line, if I ignore the 72, so let me just get rid of the 72, from where I've drawn that yellow line in this direction, those three moving averages have got themselves in order, okay, and so it looks like the trend could start to go that way over there. Now I saw this. Now the Euro Aussie was very volatile, so I didn't trade it, but what I did see is when they first cross over, it's the first time that I can start to look for inside candles with fractals, and I got one right there, okay, straight afterwards. So the trade was something along those lines, and it did go up about 220 pips, and almost it got better than 1-to-1 because the stop would have been there, okay, but always be aware of it, okay. So when I start to look for this type of trade, I need these three at least start to get themselves in order. It tells me that it's the first indication that the trend could be changing. Alright, now also from this very chart here you can see that this is narrowing in, okay, and that's what we were just we saw better on a 4-hour chart. So if I go back to my other profile and a 4-hour chart, let me just draw it again. So we're in there somewhere and I'm in there somewhere. Okay, so keep an eye on this and let's see what happens. Alright, Karen, I wasn't trading a T-chaser. Karen's saying that the CCI wasn't high enough. I realised that. I was only looking at the moving averages just to give me an indication whether the trend was changing. And then the actual method that I was going to trade, which I didn't, was a price action buying a dip inside a trend method. Okay, so which actually reminds me, one last thing that I promised I was going to show was, let me have a quick look at the GBP USD. I'm just going to open up another chart. I don't want to wreck that one because then after I forget what I was doing on it. GBP USD. And I want to put a T-chaser. Was it GBP USD? No. Sorry, on a daily chart. Okay, somebody emailed me this morning asking, is this a T-chaser? Is that a T-chaser, guys? Lois says no. Bijan, not yet. Alan, no. Who's not sure? Murphy says no. Roy says he's not sure. Okay, most of you have got it. Okay. Brett says he's not sure. Okay, so the thing with the T-chaser, sometimes there's 3 rules. Okay, remember there was one rule is that these 3 have to be in order, and they are. Okay, so those 3 are in order. Rule 2 is the CCI has to be above 150, and it's just on, so that's okay. But the final rule that we always forget is that the candle's got to close above the 72. So this candle here should have closed up there somewhere. Doesn't matter that it started underneath, but it didn't close above it. It closed underneath, so therefore no trade. Okay, so I believe it was Karen sent me the email this morning. Thanks for that, Karen. But yeah, look, so and I thought I would just mention that. Okay, now based on the same reasoning that we had a look at the Euro US, sorry, what was that last one? The Euro Aussie. I can see now that let's ignore this one. I'm not looking at that one, and I'm not looking at the CCI either. Okay, all I'm really looking at is these 3 moving averages on a daily chart from about here. They're in order. Okay, so this is the first indication that perhaps now, especially if I include data from down here, alright, let me just delete some things, am I now starting to get into this direction? Now remember when I did price action with T-chaser joining together, remember that class that I did? The price action class was getting us, the price action method was getting us into trades a lot earlier than the T-chaser. Okay, so what I'm suggesting is this: look out for a little dip. We may get an early buy, and then a little bit later we may get the T-chaser buy as well. Okay, especially if we start to get a move on and a recovery on the GBP. Does that make sense? That's what I was just trying to point out, and I think that was the case with the with the Euro Aussie. Let me bring up the Euro Aussie. Actually, let me just change this chart to a Euro Aussie. Okay, so if you have a look, we haven't had a T-chaser trigger yet. For the Euro Aussie, we got close. There's still no T-chaser, But if it continues to go up, as an example, if it continues to go up, we've already had a price action trigger. Okay, so if we get a T-chaser trigger in the next week or so, this trigger was a good deal earlier than the next one. That's all I was trying to say. Okay, does that make sense to everybody? Yep, fantastic. All right, any final questions before I call it a day? Quick little recap while you type. Ozzy waiting 28 minutes for this candle. See what happens. Are we going to break or not? Euro USD, we have a trigger long. For those of you who aren't in it, who want it, there is a long trade, but for everybody else, we're still in a short trade. Okay, you can go both ways if you want. It's up to you. GBP USD, keep an eye out what's going to happen on this border. I really like this to see if we get something back into the channel. Gold, we had nothing. US yen, we're waiting for these candles. We're waiting to see if we get the break of the shoulder, head and shoulder. Okay, Euro yen, we're in the middle of a channel. Or if you're going to trade a daily, you got a trade to go, so you're selling into a little peak on a trend. Okay, Kiwi, nothing, and Euro Aussie, we're going to wait that out. I'm going to try and be all these. I'm writing them up on my whiteboard right now. So if I see them happening live, I will send them out. Okay, keep up the good work. I will see you all on Thursday, and we'll see how we go. Okay, have a great day. Bye for now, guys.